Hey, welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. I'm your host, Jim Cockrum, and today I've got a guest who'll join us in just a moment. It's one of the newer students in our community. If you're unfamiliar with how we do things around here, this podcast primarily exists to tell the stories of the very real people out there who, in most cases, were completely clueless about e-commerce and making money online. But they joined our community, they started listening to this podcast, and then they went on to build a beautiful business, and we tell their story. So it's a flywheel of people learning and sharing their stories, which encourages and trains others. It's a flywheel of opportunity. So thanks for being along on the ride. Today is no exception. We've got Jeremy Youngblood. He's going to jump on here in just a moment with me. He has built a great business in just a few weeks. He has 45 products that he's found that he's selling on Amazon. These are easily sourced, paying full retail price products that are selling profitably for him on Amazon, because he's not out looking for profitable products. He's out looking for underserved shelf space at Amazon. And we talk about what that means today on the show, so I won't dive too deep into that right now. But that is what we train as one of the basic foundational business models of our flagship training program. It's called the Proven Amazon Course. You can find it at provenamazoncourse.com. That's what so many of the people that you've heard on our show, hundreds as a matter of fact, have talked about as the foundation of them building a beautiful business online. And I'm here to report, I'm thrilled to report that as of right now, spring 2025, there has never been a better time where there is more underserved shelf space in Amazon's 200 plus warehouse network than there is right now. And we prove it all day, every day around here. And even Jeremy, who has very limited e-commerce experience in his past, has been able to jump in, find 45 products that meet his qualifications, that are easily sourced all around him, and sell them well above what he's paying full retail, even in many cases where there's other sellers on the same product selling the product for less. It happens all day, every day. And as Jeremy explains today, it's the same reason that DoorDash works. I loved his example. You hear it when we get to it. People want speed. That's the lesson. People want the convenience of speed. So when they're shopping on Amazon.com, remember this: when a shopper shops on Amazon.com, most of them, I would say at least half, if not more of them, are not shopping Amazon's entire 200 plus warehouse network. They're not shopping all the warehouses. They're shopping the one warehouse nearest them, and they're making a decision. So if there's a high price product, if there's a high price on a product and they want that product, they're not going to wait 3 or 4 or 5 days to pay less for that product. They want it now, and they will pay the extra money to get it 2 to 4 hours from now. We call that underserved shelf space. All those warehouses, all those millions of products that aren't in stock at any given time. Once you learn how to find that, you can start building a beautiful business. Jeremy has plans to have a $5,000 a month business very soon. Remember, he's only been doing this a few weeks, and he's picked up pace very well. He tells you his whole story. He works full time. He's just working about an hour a day, a few hours on the weekend, and he's built his business to the point where he says he's got proof of concept. You'll hear him say it in his own words here in just a moment. But one last thing you'll also hear him talk about towards the end of the episode. He's coming to our conference in Orlando, and we want you there as well. It's the last 3 days of May. That's the 29th, the 30th, and the 31st of May, 2025. We've got a great hotel, a great resort. It's only $109 a night to stay there. You can come 5 days early, stay 5 days late if you want. Bring your family, go to SeaWorld. It's walking distance across the street from SeaWorld. Beautiful gated resort, $109 a night. Take advantage of the discount and come on down. Enjoy some of the conference as well. Jeremy's going to be there with his wife, along with hundreds of listeners to this show, 40 breakout sessions. We would absolutely love for you to come at no charge. If funds are tight, or if you've never been before, especially, we've got a guaranteed scholarship slot for you. We want you to experience this event. Get details on our scholarship, which takes you 30 seconds to apply for, at this website, theprovenconference.com. That's the website for the event. Get all the details, fill out the scholarship form. You'll hear back from us quickly. The website again, theprovenconference.com. There'll be a link in the show notes as well. enjoy this conversation with Jeremy. He's a great guy. Come meet him in Orlando. Let's get the episode rolling. So, hey, Jeremy, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Jim. Good to be here.
Thanks for taking some time out of your day, man. I know you're a busy man. You got another career going on here. You said HVAC, right?
Yes, sir. I'm a commercial refrigeration and cooking equipment technician and
Gotcha.
HVAC.
Gotcha. So you got plenty of time here on the road and listening to good podcasts. Maybe this one, huh? I didn't even ask you before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually I found the podcast first, and I listened to it for about a month before I really started doing anything, trying to
I got you.
get started in it.
Okay. Well, let's talk about how you guys started in e-commerce. Is that what got you into all of this? Was looking at podcasts?
No, I tried e-commerce before. I did a lot of what other people done, that private label thing.
Mm.
Signed up for. Of course, I didn't luckily spend too terribly much, but I did lose a about $1,000 or so trying to get started in it before I kind of figured out it was a scam.
I'm
And
sorry. At least you escaped with only $1,000 loss. We hear a lot of these 30, 40, $50,000 losses with garage full of stuff that you can't do anything with. At least you didn't have that happen. But all right, how long ago was that?
it's been a few years back, and then my career kind of took off a little bit better when I moved towards the Savannah, Georgia area.
Okay.
A lot of places, a lot of potential for growth in my field here, and so I
Gotcha.
stuck. And then things changed, and then I found this group when I started looking for a way to make a second income stream, and get listening to the podcast, getting into the group, and just sending my first package in. Kind of started getting my mind right, and I started learning things. I've had my hiccups, but it's starting to roll a little bit.
Would you consider do you have proof of concept at this point?
Yes, definitely proof of concept.
Talk me
Uh,
through that a little bit, especially now that you've had experience. And let me just set this up a little bit for the listeners. If they're not familiar with our stance on private label, we love seeing people launch their own brands on Amazon, but not when they're new. If you're new to the Amazon landscape, you need to wade in nice and slow, much lower risk. The replens model, we call it, where you're filling the underserved shelf space, sourcing easily sourced products and sending them into Amazon's network of warehouses. That's where we encourage people to start. So you started with PL, private label, it crashed as it does for 95% of everyone who starts there. Now you're saying, hey, what works? And you're saying you got proof of concept. So talk me through it a little bit in layman's terms. Like, what have you been up to? What have you learned? And give me some examples.
uh, well, I've learned to start reading the Keepa charts a little better. I went through part of the Keepa training. I can't think of the lady's name who you talk to when you call
Robin
for
Joy.
coaching.
Robin
Not
Joy.
Robin,
There we go.
but Deborah.
Oh, when you call the coaching office, yeah. Well, Deborah's on our team at the office. Yep, that sounds right.
I told her I was running into some mental blocks, and then that night I caught the first Monday night meeting you do before one of the Kickstarters,
Mm-hmm.
and you and Kang were on there talking, and I think Robin Joy and them were on there at one point, and some of the stuff y'all were talking about just kind of clicked. It was like a light bulb moment, and then I started really seeing all these asins, and then they're everywhere.
They are, aren't they? They're everywhere. I say that people, so talk me through that. I love that you're right on the other side of just having had your eyes opened. And there
Yeah.
really is almost a pivot point in time that people can point to is like, that's when it started making sense. So talk me through that a little bit, Jeremy, because I've been doing this so long, it's hard for me to verbalize way back when it started making sense. For you, what were you thinking before? What did we say that tripped that switch, and how you think differently now? I know that's a lot to unpack, but to the best
Yeah.
of your ability, we don't have to do half an hour of this or anything. We just in a couple minutes, talk me through that a little bit if you don't mind. Maybe that'll help someone else out.
Well, I think my main issue is that was again that mental block where I was stuck looking at a product and say, well, there's a very popular screwdriver brand that I use and I love in HVAC. I have a whole tool bag full of them back there. Got ungated in that brand right off the bat, and I bought a couple screwdrivers. It looked like a great seller. Sent it off. I broke even on it, but the video kind of the way you guys, Robin and Joy, and you and Kang were discussing things. I don't remember the exact moment it clicked, but it was like, hey, right there, that's what I need to be looking at instead of this. And I broke my emotional attachment from my screwdriver brand. And then I started saying, like, I have one little product that's $1.98. I'm actually selling against Amazon on it. They can't keep product. And I got a local supplier here who's legit, and I keep them in there and they just roll.
How much you selling them for?
I sell them for about $11, I think.
What's your net?
I'm making about $3.48 off of them.
But you're selling
net.
a lot of them. Yeah. And are there other sellers on it?
No other sellers. There was one and he dropped off, but I haven't had any issues with it. Nothing's come back on it. Nobody's coming after me. I'm gonna keep selling until something.
Until there's a reason not to. Yeah. What's Amazon sell on that ASIN for?
$2.99.
And you're selling them for 11. Great example. And we'll come back to that. I want to dig into that example a little bit more, because I know for a fact there's millions of ASINs like that. We use examples all the time around here where Amazon is on it. Looks like they're dominating the buy box, but you can hop on and make sales well above buy box and make consistent, steady sales. We'll dig into that just a little bit more, but I want to go back to that light bulb moment.
Okay.
I don't want to move too far off that before we answer that question. So here's what I think I heard you say. And I'm going to use slightly different language and see if it makes sense to you. Okay. I think most people come into Amazon selling thinking they've got to find some good products. It's about the products. So they start off, maybe in the back of their head, they heard someone say on a YouTube video somewhere, go into a product line that you know and understand and like, and start there. I'm over here saying that's terrible advice. I'm looking at Keepa charts. I could care less what the product is, right? So that light bulb moment is when you go from looking for products to looking for underserved shelf space in Amazon's warehouse network. And you don't care what the product is. You're looking for underserved shelf space. You're looking at data, you're looking at charts. And it's not rocket science either to start to say, okay, there's not enough FBA sellers on this very popular item, and Amazon keeps selling out of it. And you start to notice these signs. And like this one that you jumped on, it's costing you a couple bucks. You're selling it for 11, making $3 or $4 a sale. And Amazon is on it with you as well. So we'll get to that in a second. But did I represent your before and after well with my examples? You go from looking for products to looking for underserved shelf space using data.
Yes, sir. And now that you say it like that, actually makes me think back to one of your podcasts. I cannot remember exactly which one it was, but there was a lady who sells, and she was talking about a can of peas or something, I think. And then she talked about, well, if you open up it, she's like, it might not be that great of an ASIN for you to sell, but if you scroll down, you might find that a pack of 3 cans of peas is selling for this much, and that's a good ASIN to sell. And that I'm like, all right, there it is. That's my clue. So now let me start uncovering stuff, and that too helped in the webinar. So the
light bulb started.
And the one guy, the light bulb clicks, and then that guy that's shooting fish in a barrel. I've heard it a bunch. Definitely down in the South, you hear it a lot.
Yeah, that's a Southern slang. Shooting fish in a barrel. It does become like that, to where really you're not far away from being able to sit down anytime you want to and find couple dozen viable ASINs that you can sell against and test against. You'll run out of capital to invest in inventory way before you'll run out of viable, test-worthy ASINs with the strategies we teach. And you're not going to run out and buy 100 or even 50 or even 20 units of anything, or even 10. You're going to buy 3, 4, 5 units. Test it out. See what happens. Those sell, buy a few more, and always be finding more ASINs. That's the way you wade into this game. And that model can be scaled as big as you want to go. I know you're using some tools and software that help you automate and systemize this thing. That's a beautiful business.
Yeah. I want to go ahead and get it started structuring and have me a foundation set as it's growing. So I'll be ready to start turning this over to others, because I want it to get to a point where I don't have to work so hard on it, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of times I'm burning the candle at both ends, just working and on that to get it going.
We call that, Jeremy, the season of intense focused effort. It's not a sustainable thing. We as humans are not built to go through intense focused effort for extended periods of time, but we can do it for a while. We can do it for a few months. We can do it for a season of life, but you've got to be building a machine that you can hand over to somebody else. That, like you said, a tool that can be, or a system that can be automated, software, team, and now you're still speaking into it, still managing it. It's still your money that's fueling it. So you're going to keep an eye on it, but it doesn't have to be you doing you can put down the tape gun. You're not the guy putting tape on boxes. You're not the guy looking for new inventory, looking at Keepa charts even. You can step away from all of that eventually. But at the beginning, it is a period of, like we said, intense focused effort. There's a season of that. Launching anything worth doing. It's like if you get started exercising, those first 4 runs are going to be the hardest runs you'll ever do. After that, you get into your routine, right? Start trying to lose weight. Those first 4 desserts you skip are the hardest desserts to skip. But after that, like, this is my new normal. This is who I am. I'm not a dessert guy anymore. But it's that intense focused effort required to kind of get over that little hump. That's what you're feeling right now. But stick with it. You've got proof of concept, which is so encouraging. Okay, so I want to talk about that specific example again. We gave one, and we could give many examples, but you talked about this item you're picking up for a couple bucks, selling for 11, and Amazon is on the ASIN with you, selling it for basically your buy price, right? How did you know? What were you looking for when you found that opportunity? Because it's not intuitive. Most people will scan a barcode in a store and look on their seller app and go, well, Amazon's selling it for $2. And here it sits on the shelf for $2. There is no opportunity here. And they go scan another barcode. What made you pause and go, wait, nope, I see opportunity here? What is it about the Keepa chart that jumped out to you?
Well, on that one specifically, Amazon keeps running out of it pretty regularly. And when I originally got on it, there were 2 other sellers. One was FBM and one was FBA. And both of them ended up dropping off. My only thought is because they couldn't find suppliers anymore or something. And I haven't seen anybody else get on it. But that I seen their price point at first where they were at. So that's where I started with mine. And I started bumping mine up because I ran out my first shipment within the first 2 weeks of them being in the store. I was out, and I'm like, I can't get them back that fast. So I started jacking the price up. I got more in there, and they were still buying them, and I'm out again.
Beautiful. How many have you sold so far?
20.
20 units so far. That's great. Imagine a catalog of those, at $3 or $4 a profit. You're thinking, oh, that's not much. No, but you're just buying 10, 20 at a time, sending them in, they sell through. And you build your catalog of ASINs that look like that. Before you know it, it's not just weekend spending money. It's a legit business that's doing some powerful things. So I love what you said about the other sellers that were on there, and you noticed there weren't very many sellers. How many times a month does this drop? Before I do some analysis for the listeners today and kind of think this ASIN through, do you happen to know how many drops per month this ASIN has, or does it have a?
Actually, was kind of lower on the drop. I think it had 8 to 10, if I'm thinking correctly. It didn't look like it was a fast mover, but I'm killing it.
Yeah. So, well, I love that you pointed that out, because anything over 6, 7, 8 drops, sometimes you'll be shocked how fast it's selling, because no one knows exactly how many units per month any given product is selling on Amazon. No one knows, unless you're the only seller and it's your product. Then you know. But if others are on it, you have no idea. There's no tool. There's no Chrome extension. There's no way to know how many times per month it sells. Now, there's all kinds of tools that will guess. But the best way to guess, as you know, Jeremy, is to look at the drops, and that gives you an idea. But then once you send in your test inventory and you see how fast it sells, then you can start to piece the puzzle together. So Keepa can't tell you what it doesn't know, and nobody knows. A lot of these tools, these Chrome extensions will have estimators like, oh, this sells 150 times a month. That could mean it sells 10 times a month, or it could mean it sells 5,000 times a month. It's a complete estimate. Until you test it,
Yeah.
you don't know. Okay. But you tested it, and you tested it at a nice high price. I would even encourage you and ask, maybe you want to raise your price even more and see what happens. I don't think it's going to slow your sales down at all.
No, I creep it up. And this one, I think I'm going to keep creeping it up a little bit. I've been going like 10, 20 cents at a time
Mm-hmm.
on some things. Now, most everything most of my other ASINs I have been testing high to start. And then if it doesn't seem like it's moving, I drop it down just a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. I actually had a shampoo bottle of shampoo that I dropped the price on 1 penny, and I sold two of them in like 30 minutes. But
Yes.
I'm probably just a coincidence, but it started moving a little bit, and it's been moving more steady. I think I've had three of those sold in total, four sold in total so far.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that. Is that an above buy box example as well, or is that one where you're winning at the buy
The
box
buy on the I'm about $6 higher than the buy box right now
on the shampoo?
on that one.
Nice.
Yes.
I love it. You grasp something right now, Jeremy, as a guy who's been doing this about a month or so. You grasp something that even the most seasoned and experienced sellers on Amazon can't seem to wrap their heads around, because it's so simple that it flies right over their heads. And it's simply this. You're fully aware that Amazon has 200 plus warehouses.
Mhm.
And just because Amazon has stock in a few of warehouses doesn't mean they got stock in all 200 of them. So if you send in a few units, the odds of someone saying, oh, that's the fastest possible shipping option for me, and they don't care that it costs $6 more. That's my wife's shampoo. She needs it. She's out. Click. It's sold. They don't want to wait 3 days for Amazon's cheaper price. They don't want to wait 5 days for the buy box price. It's in a warehouse near the shopper, so they grab it. It's that simple. It really is that simple. And on both these examples you've shared with us, that's what's going on. That's why, even though Amazon says they are on an ASIN, that doesn't mean they have inventory in all 200 plus warehouses across the country. It means they have, very well could mean they only have some inventory in a small handful of warehouses. And the way you look for those signs on the Keep It chart starts to really show up. So on this shampoo, you mentioned on the other product that Amazon comes and goes. They're always running out of stock. Did you see that same pattern with the shampoo?
Not as much. They do run out, but very little that they run out. It's one of the more popular brands of your like healthy style,
Mm-hmm.
that natural style shampoo.
The product is
It's
almost
a
irrelevant. It's easily sourced, is what you're saying, right? Walmart has it, Target has it, Kroger probably has it, right? It's like one of these things. Pick it up, pay full retail price, and sell it for more than what others are selling it for, right?
Mhm.
That's what you got going on. Yeah. I mean, maybe you use your Kroger card. If it's Kroger, you get a little discount here or there, that kind of thing, but you don't have to wait for it to be on sale, is the
No,
point. Beautiful. I love it, man. And so when you say proof of concept, yeah, you got it, dude.
I, it's exciting to see it, and I'm still in the early stages. So like every time I get a sale, it's a little bit of an adrenaline rush, you know.
Mhm.
And my wife, she does craft and personalized items on the side. So I'm hoping at some point in the future we can bring her in as a like her stuff as a private label type thing. But that's down the road, you know. But
Yeah, well,
the
Amazon
goal,
does have the handmade section, and you can get in there and list some of her stuff that way. Or she could get on Etsy or Facebook Marketplace. There's lots of fun things to do with that. It's harder to scale up your own product, as you've learned. Is getting
yeah.
attention. It's much easier to fill underserved shelf space as you're to get the ball rolling. But yeah, what kind of crafts does she do, and where's she at? Maybe we could give her a little shout out here. Does she have a website?
No, she has on Facebook right now. She just has her. I forgot what she changed the name to.
Well,
It's just
if they
Youngblood.
find you on Facebook, if they find Jeremy Youngblood, and we'll have your name in the show notes today, will they be able to find her easily too from there?
If not, they can always message me and I can get them the group info. She has it on private because I think at the
Sure.
beginning
Okay.
there were a ton of scammers flip into the
Mhm.
group.
Yeah, I know all about that, man. I got an 80,000 person Facebook group. We're kicking out scammers all day, every day, keeping that place cleaned up.
every now and then, on a couple of my posts, there were some negative comments, and I think they got deleted pretty quick. Or some scammer trying to offer some program or something. I'm just here for the group, and I'm going to keep learning from the real people in here.
Hey, before we get back to the episode, let me take just a minute to thank a great sponsor of this community, of this show, Profit Cyclops. Get over to silentjim.com/Cyclops, Cyclops, and see the $2 per month offer that they have for new sellers. If you're running a small Amazon selling business that hasn't done $5,000 or more per month yet, but you would still like to know with tremendous insight which of your products are making you money and which ones are not, you've got to know your numbers, and Profit Cyclops lays it all out right in front of you very quickly. So easy to set up. Just plug it in and you're going to know your business in a way that you've never known it before. And look at this. For just $2 per month, you also get a reimbursement service, which means they're monitoring what Amazon owes you. Pretty cool. They're also doing repricing for you, a new feature they're rolling in. $2 per month. Get over to Profit Cyclops and check them out at silentjim.com/Cyclops, Cyclops. Tell them we sent you. Check them out. You can't go wrong for $2 a month. These guys have been doing it the right way for a long time, and we're honored to bring them on as a sponsor of our community. Let's get back to the episode.
Yeah. I'm just here for the group, and I'm going to keep learning from the real people in here.
Yeah, I'm glad you point that out. Yeah, they get very creative on how they get into our group, but then once they expose themselves and pop their head up, it's like whack-a-mole. Boom, they're gone, banned for life, right? So yeah, about half the people who try to get into the group don't even get in. We're talking about our free Facebook group right now, by the way. There's a link at silentjim.com. If you're not a member yet, jump in. 81,000 people, fully vetted, spam-free, great group. But yes. So if people look you up, maybe they can private message you. We'll have your info in the show notes today, and check out what your wife's up to in her Facebook group. But yeah, I love the examples you shared with me today so far, Jeremy. It sounds like you absolutely have proof of concept on this one strategy. Now, just to be clear, sometimes people think above buy box is my obsession, and that is one of dozens of strategies for finding great stuff to sell on Amazon. But it's the one I like the most right now for anyone who's saying, man, I can't find anything profitable. I just can't get my momentum. Because as soon as you grasp this concept, you've got millions of ASINs that are viable and test worthy, that you can send a few units in and get proof of concept and keep going back and buying the same items. It's beautiful. You may end up being a wholesale seller of this shampoo at some point because you stick with it and it goes well, and you get into their other brands, and then you reach out to the brand and you build a relationship, and now you're ordering a pallet at a time. That could happen, or not. And you just keep selling a few units at a time from retail, finding more ASINs. All right. The doors are open to you. But the thing is, Jeremy, that I love is you've got proof of concept. You figured out this works, and you're continuing to search for more ASINs. You're on a great trajectory, man.
My first goal right now is at least I try to get somewhere between 5 and 10 new test ASINs a week to send in, plus trying to keep up with what's already selling and send it on back in to keep it going. It's a fun thing, but I actually just enjoy the process of it right now. Yeah. So even though there's moments where you hit a roadblock or a mental block that you got to push through, but
yeah. Well, you're learning the necessary skills. Yeah.
I love that undeserved shelf space.
Yeah, exactly. Underserved shelf space. That's where it's at, man. It's not about finding the good products or finding the cheap prices or buy low, sell high. It's about underserved shelf space. I've put several examples in our Facebook group here the past couple of weeks from my catalog where Amazon is in stock and selling an item for $11. I posted this yesterday in a group. It's a fast-moving item that sells about 100 times a month. It's a toy. You can get it at Target, Walmart, anywhere. Pay full retail. You pay about $8, I think, retail, $7 or $8. Amazon's selling it for $11. Most people will look at that and go, there is no profit there. No, thank you. They see that Amazon is almost always in stock. But what I noticed is that buy box was coming and going a little bit. Not that Amazon was running out of stock necessarily even, but the buy box would vanish. Little gaps in the buy box. That tells me that Amazon was running out of stock temporarily because if Amazon has stock, they have the buy box. If
Yeah.
if no one else does, they do. So that suppressed buy box, that broken pink line on the Keep It chart, is an invitation for smart sellers to come in at a high price. And that's exactly what I did. So I'm selling units at more than 2 times the price Amazon is, while Amazon has stock, because they're struggling to keep their 200 warehouse network stocked up on this very popular, easily sourced toy. So I'm making $6 to $8 a sale net profit. Go grab a few more when we need them. Sell 5, 7 or so a month at a high price. I think I'm the highest price on that ASIN. There's other sellers on it, but I'm the highest price in this, again, underserved ASIN. So I love that lesson. It's not about scanning barcodes. It's not about finding discounts. It's not about being a wholesale distributor and getting, 30% off on your bulk orders. Those are all fine and good, but there's so much more here. And I love to see new sellers grasp that concept. So what strategy do you use to find more ASINs when you sit down and say, I'm going to go find, 10, 12 more? What are you doing?
Well, generally, I took that to heart. Where you guys actually, you would say you go to the store and snap some pictures of the shelves. That's my thing. I'll go on. I'm mobile, so on my way home, I'll pass plenty of suppliers. Plenty of Lowe's, Home Depots, Target, all that kind of stuff. I'll usually pick a store one day on my way home, and I'll stop, snap some pictures of shelves, and then I go home and pop up my laptop. And I got 2 little ones, so they're right there, and they'll sit up there on the computer with me, and they'll help me source. They help me look for stuff. So I'm teaching them while I'm doing it.
That's so great. Good job.
That's another.
I love it.
And that's kind of how I source. I snap pictures, go through and looking at the stuff in the pictures and looking up on Keepa, trying to find good ASINs that way.
Yeah, you kind of bunny trail off of that then. Yeah, like you said earlier with the can of green beans, maybe that product itself isn't a good ASIN, but oh, look, there's a 3-pack. Let's look at that Keepa chart. So you kind of bunny trail around and see what you find. The other thing I would encourage you to do is to continue studying Keepa in the Proven Amazon course, okay? The Keepa 360 or the advanced replens training in there, the advanced Keepa training, I mean to say, because you're going to start to work on your skills using Keepa's product finder. Have you been in that yet? Played with that much?
A little bit. I'm still learning that. I got to get through the course, finish learning it.
Because what you'll be able to do then is plug in parameters such as show me ASINs that Amazon has a high OOS score, out of stock OOS, which is actually one of the fields that I begged Keepa to add, and they added it because I knew they had the capability to add it. So they did it for us. So now you can say, show me all the products. This is just an example. Show me all the products that you can find, Keepa, that have a low number of FBA sellers, a high number of monthly drops, and Amazon is running out of stock more than, say, 3 or 4 times a month. Show me all the products. There's your list. And you say, oh, okay, well, that's 15,000 products. I'm not going to look at all those. All right, let's narrow it down some more into a category I'm familiar with, or, whatever other parameters you want to put on there, certain price range. Like I only want to see products that meet those specifications that are selling for more than $25. Boom. Okay, now you've chopped the list in half, right? So it's just fun to get in there. And then you're looking at ASINs that meet your qualifications and looking at the Keepa charts, and the good ones are popping right off the page at you, right? So you can find a bunch fast. And I've said for years that if the challenge was find 50 ASINs as fast as you can that are going to be good ones, I would probably go to a store and take a store shelf picture. That's shifted for me in the last year or two. I do more of what I just described. I would learn Keepa, as taught in the Proven Amazon course, how to look through that lens for opportunity, like the above buy box opportunities and some of the newer features that we've asked Keepa to add that they've added recently. Even the big old nerdy standard deviation field, which just means how bouncy is that buy box? If I see a nice flat buy box and it's at a price that I can't profit at, and Amazon's always in stock, and there's a bunch of other sellers already on it, I'm like, those things start talking about. But if I see that buy box, that pink line bouncing all over the place, that's a good sign that I could probably make some nice margins on this thing. So I asked Keepa to include a field that tells me how bouncy the buy box is. It's the standard deviation. If it's not the average buy box price, it's how far does the buy box bounce up and down off that average. How bouncy is it? Is it the best way to say it? And they added it for us. So you can do that between out of stock and standard deviation. You can find there's Asens everywhere. They're just, as you're already discovering, they're everywhere. So I'm thrilled for you, man. Plus, you're coming to the conference too. Not to derail, did you have anything you wanted to say before we move on about any of this?
I think we've pretty much covered it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
And I thank you for doing this as well, because, I think sometimes newest listeners are intimidated. So I love doing episodes with people who are just a few weeks in to the process. But
yeah,
yeah, what were you going to
it
say?
can be. No, it's good. It can be intimidating. I think I've listened to pretty much most of maybe all the podcasts, except for maybe some of the newer ones. It's been a pretty big where we're at, so I haven't had a lot of time to listen. Been training some new folks at work.
That's incredible. So
But
how many episodes would you estimate you've listened to? Because we're coming up on 1,000.
I'm probably somewhere around 900 and something because I listen all day, every day at work for a month straight.
Okay. I didn't realize that
Uh,
about you, man. You're holding out on me a little bit. That is incredible. I am honored. And I can't believe you're not sick of hearing my voice yet. Oh, that's so great, man. I love it. So since you've listened to that many episodes, I mean, you've listened to them more recently than I have. We're going back to 2016 on some of those, and there's some good stuff. I've tried to be evergreen, but when I'm talking about e-commerce and opportunities, when we talk about replens and that sort of thing, that's been working for about 7 years for us around here now. But like, did anything jump out? Did you have any favorite episodes or anything that you think I should do more of? Because you've consumed more content more quickly than probably anyone on our team. Like, if you're Chat GPT, I'm saying, hey, what am I missing, man? What should I do more of? What did you enjoy? Just give me some feedback.
well, I mean, to me, it was enjoyable hearing some of the ones that were like talking about how they sourced, and then some also where how they kind of were setting up their processes when they were getting started. Because for me, getting started a lot of times is an issue. My 4-year-old has ADHD and ODD, and I have ADHD. Back in the 80s, it was diagnosed as ADD,
Mm-hmm.
just a touch of it. Even some of the most smallest tasks, I have to trick my brain into thinking that it's not overwhelming. It's not. Just do it. You got this. So that starter feature for me sometimes it's hard to get out the gate, but I've been persevering through it, and sometimes that's where my headache is with like getting things set up with 3P Mercury and
Mm.
things like that, where I can be more organized. That is what I like to hear too. And after I made my first couple sales, which listening to, I think the little fella, I can't remember where he's from. He's not from the U.S., but he found one of those little products that was underserved, and there were like 200 people selling on it, and he was making killing selling it at $16. That was exciting to hear. That gives you, man, I can do this. I can find that product, and when you do, it's very exciting. I don't know how else to put it. I'm running out of words to
You're
say
doing
what I
you're
want.
doing great. I know exactly what you're referencing. It's one of my favorite examples of the above buy box strategy at scale. Because yeah, he sold 2,400 units within a few weeks
Yeah,
as the highest priced seller on a listing that had 200 other sellers. Yeah, pretty incredible, because he understood that of those 200 other sellers, we should probably make sure the listeners know what we're talking about. They had lower prices, but they were selling them merchant fulfilled, meaning shipping from people's homes and garages, not shipping from an FBA warehouse. So you can search using Keeper Product Finder and easily find underserved where there's just not enough FBA sellers. Hop on, be the highest price, and win ridiculously consistent, steady sales. Now, that's an extreme example, but there's Asens like that all day, every day. They're fast sellers. There's not enough FBA units in the warehouses. Send a few in, watch what happens, watch the fireworks. Your worst case scenario is you drop the price, you get your money back because it's a fast moving product, right? So, yeah, those are fun examples. But you mentioned as well, just people who, and I'll take this to heart, man, people who are talking about how to get set up, the detail of What's the room look like? What kind of table did you need? What's your routine and your schedule and those sorts of things? We don't do a lot of that because maybe because for me it's boring, but just hearing people talk through those details could be useful for especially the newer listeners. So I can appreciate that, man. Thanks for that feedback. And we do a fair amount of that in the trainings as well, where you can get in there. But hearing other people talking it through can be helpful. So yeah, appreciate that feedback. And thanks for listening to all those episodes, man. That's really cool of you. If you think of anything else, maybe just contact me privately even and like, oh yeah, I love these episodes. I wish you did more of that kind of thing. Because you did some heavy lifting, man. That's a lot of episodes. You've been staying
Yeah,
current too, though. That's what I suggest is stay current and then
yeah,
work your way through the old stuff. Maybe we even work backwards through it, or some of those really old episodes were really good stuff. It's like
yeah.
the virtue of buying low and selling high on Amazon. Is that a virtuous thing? Right? I talk through even from a biblical lens of yes, that's what all businesses do, and here's why you're helping people, even though your charge made a profit. You're helping countless people by running a profitable business. Those sorts of things. I had fun doing those episodes, but
We definitely want a world where people like convenience over spending a couple dollars. I mean, it's why DoorDashes succeed because there's that convenience factor. I want a pizza, but I don't feel like going to get it. I'll pay $10 and
yep.
give that guy a $5 tip. Bring it to me.
Mm-hmm. That's a great example. Let's say you had an opportunity to get that same pizza for $12 less 3 days from now. No thanks. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to wait 3 days. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
That's how people shop on Amazon too. And so many sellers are in denial that that is happening all day, every day. Customers are saying, no, I don't want to wait 3 days and pay $12 less. Oh, I want it now. So they're picking a high price point because that particular unit is in a warehouse near them. And they grab it. And that data point doesn't show up on any chart. Nobody knows that sale happened except the buying customer and the seller. There's no software that'll show you those sales happening because Keepa doesn't know when sales are happening. We already covered that. Keepa knows the price points that people are using. It knows where the buy box line is, but it doesn't know when shoppers are saying, yeah, I'm going to pay $12 more than I have to because I want it now.
yeah,
And those sales are happening all day, every day. Yeah. And you get it. And I love the DoorDash example because that's exactly what it is. Who DoorDashes their dinner but say, no, can you imagine a feature on DoorDash that says, wait a second, before you place your order, we'll knock $8 off your bill if you'll take delivery 4 days from now. Why? No. What? Doesn't even make any sense. People shop on Amazon the same way. They're like, they're sorting through the dates. What's fastest? There's the fastest. 4 hours sold. But wait, you could save $8 if you're willing to wait 3 days. No, I want it now. So
yep.
find those underserved listings, that underserved shelf space in Amazon's 200 warehouse network. There's gold there, as you've discovered, Jeremy. Well, you talked a little bit about 3P Mercury. Not to spend too much time on it. The short link is silentjimdotcom/the system. My favorite podcast episode is 754, where I sit down with Kang and talk through what that is. But I love to see you starting out as a new user, as a new student, I should say, using 3P Mercury, because it's going to give you such a huge advantage as you roll into this season of having a lot of ASINs and keeping track of them. Wise decision, man.
I
You,
think so.
you still going
Definitely
through
the wise one.
the learning curve a little bit, I'd imagine, getting it set up.
Yes, yes. I see my inventory. I had to get a new computer. Mine wasn't wanting to move that file over the way Kang was showing to put it into buy lists, and that way the pricing and all that shows up. That's where I'm stuck right now. But with my new computer, I got it set up yesterday, so I should be able to get started. I think it'll be a little bit easier now. I think that was my headache. Is
Okay.
I had an old laptop I was working on, and just was not wanting to gel with that 3P Mercury.
Okay. Well, yeah, it should be. As long as you got an internet browser that's fairly recent, you should be in good shape. But yeah, absolutely. Hopefully that takes care of your issue. But the 3P Mercury Facebook group is phenomenal, as I think you mentioned before we started recording. Jump in there; they'll help you out if you're hitting some snags. You can take a screenshot or maybe even a little screen video. Use a tool like Loom or I use a tool called Snagit, free tool. Capture a little video, show what's happening. Hey, could somebody help me out here? Don't give away any of your ASINs, don't show that part, but just show what's happening on your screen. And someone in the Facebook group for 3P Mercury will help you out. But yeah, I'd love to see you ramping up that way. For those who don't know, that's the tool that Kang used to build a $3 million replens business fully automated with thousands and thousands of ASINs being tracked. So he knows when it's time to buy more. You can scale to that level with this business. Well, Jeremy, I want to hit this before I let you go. I've got some other calls stacking up on me, and you got a busy day. I appreciate your time, man. You got HVAC stuff to do, I'm sure. But you're coming to Orlando. You're coming to the conference the last 3 days of May 2025. You said you're bringing your wife, bringing the kids too. You mentioned a couple kids.
My little ones are going to be going to their grandma's for the week.
Okay.
She wants to keep them that week. And the two older ones, they'll be going to one of their other grandparents to do some church stuff that week.
Gotcha. So you're making a little date with your wife coming on down. And you guys are driving because you're in Georgia, right? Just drive on down to Orlando.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, looking forward to seeing you there. Please come up and say hello. And for the listeners here, go up to Jeremy and ask him how it's going. Ask him how his business is doing, because he'll be there if you happen to be watching today. Most people just listen, but it's Jeremy Youngblood, and he's done a great job today. I appreciate you, buddy. Hey, I want to ask you this: how you work full time? One last question for you: how many hours a week are you putting into your business here?
During the weekdays, it just depends on the day, because some of my days can get rather long, especially with summertime ramping up. So generally about an hour a day I spend at least, but on the weekends I'll spend at least 3 or 4 hours sometimes a day. And my little girls will be right there helping me pack stuff.
Sure.
So,
how many shipments have you sent in?
Oh, Lord. I think I'm at total around 9 or 10 now.
Okay.
I think I'm at 9.
You're dialing it in, man.
I've got about 45 ASINs in the store right now. So
that's beautiful. Well done. Well done. Keep hitting it, dude. Can't wait to meet you at the end of May.
I'm looking forward to it.
And what's your wife's name, Jeremy?
Kayla.
Kayla. Jeremy and Kayla. All right, man. Can't wait to see you in Florida. Be sure to come up and say, hey, buddy, it's going to be a great 3 days. It's going to really get you excited, I think. Can't wait to do it. All right, man. You got any questions for me or anything else you're hoping to cover before we wrap this one up?
No, sir. I think that's about it.
Okay. All right. Well, you did a great job. Shoot me a note. You got my text now, man. You got my text. So shoot me a note if you need anything. All right, buddy?
Yes, sir.
All right, Jeremy. Thanks for your time today. And for the listeners who hung out with Jeremy and I today, if this is one of the first episodes you've ever heard, I've got some great news for you. There's a whole bunch more where that came from. Students of the Proven Amazon course who've jumped in, learned the systems we teach, implemented them, put them into practice, and gone on to build beautiful businesses. Some of them, like Jeremy, just got started. They're 9, 10 shipments in. They're just getting the wheels turning, seeing the proof of concept. Other people, they've scaled. They've got other incredible businesses and great stories, maybe even other income streams that they've tacked on. We love every level of the journey. We're here to support you in that journey. Thanks for listening to our show. We'll have another great episode for you very soon. Talk to you then.
Thanks for listening to this great episode of Silent Sales Machine Radio. We have a very quick announcement that you don't want to miss right now.
Does anyone out there ever feel uncertain when choosing an ASIN to test? Like, it's ambiguous and you're not really sure?
Yeah, or like you have to stand on one leg on the second Tuesday of the first week of the month if the moon is in retrograde.
Right. And hold your mouth right. You got to remember to hold your mouth right. Then you might possibly
consider testing that ASIN someday, maybe.
Right. Sometimes Keepa seems overwhelming. Like it's got so many data points. What if I'm missing something? I'm afraid I'm missing something, so I don't want to pull the trigger. Right?
Yes. Well, we host a 2-day workshop that will demystify the process of building a predictable, scalable, and sustainable book of business on Amazon.
Yeah, it starts with a pre-flight inspection of a listing. So you can answer the question, should I go any further with this ASIN or do I need to move on?
If you get past that, we're going to show you how to apply 3 simple yes or no questions that will help you decide whether to pull the trigger or not. Yeah. Like, is this even a good ASIN to test?
Right? And if you do decide to test it, we'll help you implement a framework for a 4-week testing process. And this process is clear and methodical, and it'll tell you whether you should replenish that ASIN or not.
Now, in these 2 days, we're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to practice how to apply these critical concepts together. It's intense, it's focused, and it's packed with frameworks, quizzes, and actionable information that really is going to stack the deck in your favor when finding your first 100 replenishable ASINs.
Or your next 100 replenishable ASINs.
Yes, I love it.
Yes. You're going to leave with a roadmap to create your foundational book of business over the next few months.
Our next workshop is May 27th and 28th in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, but seating is limited. It's an intimate setting, but you'll be able to ask all of your questions, plus you'll hear all the questions of the other attendees.
Yeah, this is fun, dynamic, educational. It's a great experience where you will get to meet and work with other people who are doing the same things that you are with similar goals. Mm-hmm. Imagine how you would feel when you get back home after the workshop and you're feeling transformed from unsure to certain, from cautious to confident, from overwhelmed to empowered.
Right. Yeah. You don't have to stand on one leg anymore and hold your mouth right. Just
Right.
making sure, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. So if you would like to feel that way, go to provenamazoncourse.com/100. That's provenamazoncourse.com/100. And we look forward to seeing you there because we're inspired by the accomplishments of others.
We're passionate about helping others reach their goals.
And we're committed to sharing the keys to success that have been shared with us.